Hey everybody, welcome back!
My 5-year-old handed my dad a drawing she'd spent all afternoon on. My dad tossed it into the fireplace and said, "Go play. The adults are talking." My daughter froze. I took her hand, stood up and announced this. The room went silent. My mom whispered, "Please, don't do this." I watched my 5-year-old daughter's face crumble as my father tossed her drawing into the fireplace. The edges caught first, curling black, then orange, then gone. She'd spent 3 hours on that picture. Every crayon perfectly chosen, every line drawn with the kind of focus only a child who desperately wants to impress her grandfather can muster. But he didn't even look at it. Just flicked it into the flames like junk mail and said, "Go play. The adults are talking." My name is Bridget, and that moment, that single cruel moment, was when I finally understood that my parents had declared war on me. Not with words. Not with arguments. But with something far more vicious. They were weaponizing my daughter's love. Let me back up because you need to understand how we got here. 3 months ago I sold my house. Not because I wanted to, but as I had to. My husband, Marcus, had been deployed overseas for 18 months, working as a private military contractor in a conflict zone I wasn't allowed to know the name of. His paycheck stopped coming in July. No explanation. No contact. Just silence. The company claimed communication disruptions in the field. The government wouldn't tell me anything. I was living on savings that were bleeding out faster than I could count. So I sold our home, a beautiful 4-bedroom in a quiet suburb that Marcus and I had scraped together every penny to buy. I sold it and bought a smaller place 40 minutes away, pocketing the difference so my daughter Lily and I could survive while I waited for answers about my husband. Do you think that was the wrong choice? Because my parents sure did. The calls started the day after closing. My mother, Patricia, voice dripping with fake concern. "Bridget, honey, we heard you sold the house. We were thinking, your father's truck finally died. If you have extra money now, maybe you could help us get a newer one." I said no. I explained about Marcus, about the uncertainty, about needing that money for Lily and me. She went quiet. Then cold. "I see. We'll remember this." My father, Donald, was more direct. He called me selfish. Said I was hoarding money while they struggled. Never mind that they'd never offered to help us when Marcus's income vanished. Never mind that they'd spent the last decade lecturing me about being too dependent on my husband's paycheck. Now that I had something, they wanted it. And when I refused, they started punishing me in the cruelest way possible. Through Lily. That's when the visits started getting ugly. My dad would ignore Lily when she tried to hug him. My mother would make comments like, "Your mommy doesn't care about family anymore, sweetie. That's why grandma and grandpa are so sad." I should have stopped bringing Lily around right then. But I kept hoping they'd snap out of it. I kept thinking they'd remember they were her grandparents, not petty strangers. Then came today. Sunday dinner at their house like we'd done every week for years. Lily had been so excited. She'd drawn them a picture. A house with stick figures labeled Grandma, Grandpa, Mommy, and me. Hearts everywhere. She'd even added Marcus, off to the side with a speech bubble that said, "I miss you, Daddy." It broke my heart. But she was so proud of it. She walked right up to my father during dinner, holding it out with both hands like an offering. "Grandpa, I made this for you." He barely glanced at it. Took it from her hands. Walked to the fireplace. And tossed it in. "Go play. The adults are talking." Lily stood there frozen. Her little hands still outstretched where the drawing had been. Her eyes filling with tears, she was too shocked to cry yet. And my father just turned back to his plate like nothing had happened. I felt something inside me snap. Not break, snap. Like a wire pulled too tight. I stood up. Took Lily's hand. My voice came out calm, but I could feel the fury underneath it, cold and sharp. "We're leaving. And we're not coming back." The room went silent. My mother's fork clattered onto her plate. She whispered, "Please, don't do this." But I wasn't done. Not even close. What I said next. That's when things really started. And trust me, what happens after this, you won't believe how far I was willing to go. My mother stood up so fast her chair scraped across the floor. "Bridget, you're overreacting." "He didn't mean." "He threw her drawing in the fire, Mom." My voice was steady, but my hand was shaking as I held Lily's. "He looked my 5-year-old daughter in the eye and threw away something she made with love. Don't you dare tell me I'm overreacting." My father finally looked up from his plate. His face was red. Oh, here we go. Drama queen Bridget making everything about her feelings. "It was a piece of paper, for God's sake." "It was her heart," I said. "And you burned it." Lily was crying now, silent tears running down her cheeks. I picked her up and she buried her face in my neck. I could feel her little body shaking with sobs she was trying to hold back. My mother reached toward us. "Honey, just sit back down. Let's talk about this like adults. Like adults? The way Dad just spoke to my daughter? That's how adults talk. That's when I saw it, sitting on the mantel above the fireplace, right next to where my father had just destroyed my daughter's drawing. A framed photo of my grandmother, Helen. My father's mother. She died 2 years ago and left everything to him, or so I'd thought. But here's what my parents didn't know I knew. 3 weeks ago I'd gotten a letter from an attorney. Apparently my grandmother had created a trust years before she died. The house they were living in, the one my father claimed he'd inherited outright, Grandma Helen had actually left it in a shared trust. 60% to my father, 40% to me. But there was more. A provision that Mr. Chin, the estate attorney, explained to me. If my father ever tried to sell the house or take out loans against it without my written consent, full ownership would transfer to me. Not partial. My parents had tried to take out a second mortgage 6 months ago. The bank contacted me as a co-beneficiary. When I asked my parents about it, my father had exploded. Told me I had no right to anything, that I was trying to steal from them. He called me greedy. Said I was just like my deadbeat husband. That's really when the hostility started. But I'd signed the papers blocking the mortgage because something felt wrong. I just hadn't known how to use that information yet. Till now. I looked at that photo of Grandma Helen and remembered something she told me once, right before she got sick. Your father's got a mean streak, Bridget. He gets it from his daddy. But he got my spine. Don't you ever let anyone break it. Family or not. I shifted Lily on my hip and turned back to my parents. You want to know why I really came here tonight? I was going to tell you something. Something important about Marcus. But you know what? You don't deserve to know anymore. My mother's face went pale. What about Marcus? Bridget, what happened? Is he? The adults are talking, Mom. I used my father's exact tone from earlier. Dismissive. Go play. My father shot up from his seat. You don't talk to your mother like that. Then maybe you shouldn't have modeled it for me. I headed toward the door but stopped. Turn back. Oh, and one more thing. Remember Grandma Helen's house? This house. The color drained from my father's face. I got a very interesting letter from her estate attorney a few weeks ago. Turns out I own 40% of it. And according to the trust terms, since you tried to mortgage it without my consent, and lied to the bank about sole ownership, I can trigger a clause that transfers full ownership to me. I smiled, but it wasn't warm. I wasn't going to do it. I felt bad for you. But after tonight, after what you did to Lily, my mother grabbed the edge of the table. You wouldn't. Bridget, please. Watch me. I opened the door. You have 30 days to find somewhere else to live. My attorney will be in touch Monday morning. Bridget. My father's voice cracked. You can't do this. This is our home. And Lily is my daughter. You made your choice. I'm making mine. I walked out with Lily still crying into my shoulder, got in my car and drove away. My hands didn't start shaking until I was 3 blocks away. What had I just done? I just made my parents homeless. Over a drawing. Was I insane? But then Lily whispered into my neck. Mommy, why doesn't Grandpa love me anymore? And I knew. I'd done exactly the right thing. The next morning I woke up to 47 missed calls and dozens of texts. My mom. My dad. My Aunt Carol. Dad's sister who I barely spoke to. Even my cousin Jenny who I hadn't heard from in 5 years. All of them telling me I was cruel, heartless, ungrateful. How dare I throw my elderly parents out on the street? Not one of them mentioned what my father had done to Lily. I was staring at my phone when another call came through. Unknown number. Mrs. Bridget Holloway? Yes. This is Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Vance from the Department of Defense. I'm calling regarding your husband, Marcus Holloway. My entire body went cold. Your husband's status has been updated. He's been classified as missing in action, presumed deceased as of November 1st. I'm very sorry for your loss. The world tilted. I heard myself make a sound, not a scream, not a cry, just a sound. However, there are some matters we need to discuss regarding your husband's benefits. Given the classified nature of his work, there are significant death benefits. You should expect a letter detailing a sum in excess of $800,000, plus ongoing survivor benefits. I couldn't process it. Marcus was gone. Dead. But also, $800,000? There's also his life insurance policy through the contracting company. You're looking at an additional $500,000 minimum. I sat there, phone pressed to my ear, my daughter eating cereal across from me, completely unaware that her father was never coming home. And I was suddenly looking at over $1 million. Do you think I should tell my parents? Should I let them know that the daughter they called selfish was about to receive enough money to change her entire life? Or should I let them suffer not knowing? What happened next is going to sound like I lost my mind. Maybe I did. But when you hear what I decided to do and how far I took my revenge, you'll understand why I couldn't stop myself. The funeral was small. Just me, Lily, and Marcus's brother Kyle, who flew in from Seattle. No body to bury, just an empty casket and a folded flag. Lily didn't fully understand. She kept asking when Daddy was coming home, and every time I had to explain again, it felt like someone was ripping my heart out. My parents didn't come. I didn't invite them. But 3 days after the service, my mother showed up at my door. Alone. She looked terrible. Eyes red, hair unwashed, wearing the same cardigan from that horrible dinner. "Bridget, please. We need to talk." I stood in the doorway, arms crossed. "About what?" "About the house. About everything." Her voice cracked. "Your father and I have been looking for apartments, but everything is so expensive. You should have thought about that before you threw my daughter's drawing in the fire." She flinched. "I know we handled things badly, but we're your parents. Doesn't that mean anything?" "It used to." I started to close the door. "Wait. I heard about Marcus. I'm so sorry. If you need anything. How you care." I laughed bitterly. Where was this concern 3 months ago when his paycheck stopped? "You were too busy asking me to buy you a truck. We didn't know how bad things were. Because you didn't ask." Tears burned behind my eyes. "You know what the worst part is? I came to that dinner to tell you about Marcus. The DOD had contacted me that morning. I knew he was gone. I was devastated. And I still showed up because I thought maybe you'd comfort me." My mother's face crumpled. "We didn't know. You were too busy punishing me to notice your daughter was falling apart." I wiped my eyes. "But here's what you really want to know, isn't it? You heard about the death benefits. Over $1 million, actually. Enough to never worry about money again." Her eyes widened. "And I'm going to invest it for Lily's future. I'm going to fix up Grandma Helen's house. My house now, and rent it out. You have 3 weeks left. Use them wisely." I closed the door in her face. "Do you think I was too harsh?" Part of me wondered if I was becoming exactly what I hated. But then I'd look at Lily and remember that drawing burning, and my resolve would harden. 2 weeks passed. My attorney served my parents with official eviction papers. My father tried to fight it, but Grandma Helen had been thorough. The house was mine. Then, with 1 week left, something happened. My father had a heart attack. Not major. The doctors said it was mild, stress-induced. But enough to land him in the hospital for 3 days. Suddenly every relative was calling, saying I was killing him. That my cruelty had put him in the hospital. I didn't visit. Didn't call. But Lily asked about him. "Is Grandpa okay, Mommy?" And that's when it hit me. I wasn't just punishing my parents. I was teaching my daughter that love is conditional. That family can be discarded when they hurt you. Was that the lesson I wanted her to learn? Especially now when she just lost her father. On the last day before eviction, I drove to the hospital. My father was sitting up in bed, looking old and small. My mother held his hand. They both looked up when I walked in. My mother started crying. I sat down. Nobody spoke for a long moment. Finally, my father cleared his throat. "I'm sorry. For what I did to Lily. For everything. I was angry and I took it out on her, and that was wrong." "Yes, it was. We got scared when you sold the house. We thought you didn't need us anymore, and it made us feel useless. When you had money and wouldn't help us." He shook his head. "That's not an excuse. But I want you to know I'm sorry. Truly sorry." My mother nodded through tears. "We should have been there for you when Marcus's paycheck stopped. We should have helped instead of asking. We should have cherished Lily. We were selfish and cruel." I felt something loosen in my chest. Not forgiveness, not yet. But maybe the beginning of it. I lost my husband. Lily lost her father. And you made the worst time of my life even worse. Do you understand that? "I know," my father whispered. "And I'll regret it forever." I took a deep breath. "The eviction stands. You need to be out by Friday." My mother sobbed. "But I'm not going to rent out the house. I'm going to let you stay." They both looked up, shocked. "Under conditions. You'll pay me fair market rent. You'll sign a lease. And if you ever treat Lily that way again, you're out immediately. No second chances." "Yes," my mother said. "Anything. Thank you. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for Lily. Despite everything, you're her grandparents. He loves you. She shouldn't have to lose anyone else." My father nodded, wiping his eyes. "We'll do better. I promise." "You better." As I meant it. No second chances. I left feeling lighter than I had in months. Not happy, I was still grieving Marcus, still angry. But lighter. When I got home, Lily was drawing. Another picture of our house. "Who's this for, baby?" "For Daddy. So he knows where to find us." "In heaven." My heart broke again. I pulled her into my lap. Let's make a special box for all your drawings for Daddy. We'll keep them safe forever. And no one will ever throw them away. Will Grandpa be nice now? I think so, sweetheart. I really think so. And he was. Took time, months actually, awkward visits and careful conversations. But slowly we rebuilt something. Not what we had before. Something different. Something honest. My father apologized to Lily in person, got down on his knees. She forgave him immediately the way only children can. It gutted him, I could see it in his face. They paid rent on time. Showed up for Lily's kindergarten graduation. Babysat when I needed them. My mother even started therapy. We're not perfect. We probably never will be. But we're family. Messy, complicated family. The money from Marcus, I did what I said. Set up a trust for Lily. Invested the rest. We're secure now, though the cost haunts me every day. Sometimes I wonder what Marcus would think of how I handled everything. Would he be proud? I'll never know. But I stood up for my daughter when she needed me. I set boundaries. And even though I had every right to destroy my parents completely, I chose mercy. Not for them, for Lily. For the kind of person I want her to become. I'll never forget that drawing my father burned. And I'll never let anyone make Lily feel that small again. Not even family. Especially not family. So that's my story. I lost my husband. Almost lost my parents. Discovered I had more strength than I knew and more capacity for both cruelty and forgiveness than I wanted to test. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. Like this if the story meant something to you. And if you think I should have done something differently, please share your thoughts in the comments. I genuinely want to know what you would have done. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching.
Today I'm reacting to your absolutely demented wedding drama. These are all from the Charlotte Debray YouTube subreddit. If you haven't followed that subreddit, what are you waiting for? Get involved in the community, share your stories. I'm having so much fun reading them. And don't forget to like and comment and upvote other people's stuff. And maybe, just maybe, you might see your story on the channel. God, now I'm gonna be doing these videos and like getting inspo. Some of you watch these videos and you're like,
How do I not be a bridezilla? Oh, I will watch Charlotte's videos.
I will watch my videos and say, okay, how do I be even more demented on my wedding day? Inspo! Let's make Pinterest boards! Am I the a-hole for leaving my husband during our wedding day? This is from Reddit user Qley. I, 28 female, left my husband, 29 male, on our wedding day. And now I'm questioning if I was in the wrong. Well, I'll tell you, honey. But first... We've been together for 5 years and engaged for 1. Throughout our relationship, there were moments of doubt, but I always brushed them off, thinking it was just pre-wedding jitters. Okay. I'm gonna need you to elaborate, honey. Our families and friends were excited and the planning went smoothly. My husband is a charming and charismatic guy and everyone seems to adore him. The wedding day itself started off beautifully. The weather was perfect, the venue was stunning, and everything was going according to plan. I feel like I was living a dream as I walked down the aisle toward him. The ceremony was emotional and I was overwhelmed with joy and love as we exchanged our vows. After the ceremony, everything seems great. What's going on, bestie? We moved to the reception. The venue was decorated with twinkling lights, flowers, and everything I've ever dreamed of. As everything progressed, everyone seemed to be having a great time. There were speeches, toasts, and lots of dancing. I felt so happy and blessed thinking about the life we were about to start together. However, during the reception, something happened that changed everything. I went to the bridal suite to freshen up and overheard my husband having a conversation with his best man just outside the door. Oh God, did anyone else's heart rates just like pitter patter, pitter patter? At first I thought it was just typical guy talk, but then I heard him say something that made my blood run cold.